So I got here right as you were sort of talking about the neck thing. I was wondering, could you just tell me like what specifically is the injury? What did you
Sure,
guys
yeah.
was
Just
wrong
kind of
with
walk you through the history of it, I guess.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks ago, he was doing 4 sets of 200, 100, pretty hard, and so 4 weeks ago, and then he had no pain during the workout. I was in altitude camp in Albuquerque, and so did that workout. And then the next day was a recovery day. He didn't say anything. Then the next day he was doing some light strides to do as part of his moderate day, and he couldn't stride at all. So this is the week of the Portland Track Festival, and we had him see a physio in Eugene, and the physio in Eugene usually like fixes everything with Nick. Wasn't getting better, so then we got an MRI 2 days later and found out he had a grade 2 strain on one of the ligaments that runs from the knee down to the ankle, and that ligament was pulling on a bone a little bit, so there's like a little bit of like the beginning signs of a stress reaction, but it's really just, the doctor would call it just a high ankle sprain. So cause of it is he's got some ankle mobility issues. Usually it's a 1 or 2 day thing, so it's a little bit restricted, and then he steps a little funny running a 23-second 200, because you watched him run. He kind of lands on outside his foot.
Yeah.
That's a perfect storm. So that happened. Then he's been cross-training really hard for 2 weeks. I've probably ridden 100 miles at least with him on the bike and swimming and all this other stuff. And so, we made a decision today.
Yeah. I guess running through a few of the guys. Drew Windle's someone who's been really good for you this year. I think I spoke to him at USA Indoors, and he said it was maybe a little adjustment at first to the professional lifestyle, especially coming from D2. I guess, what have you seen from him? How has he adapted to where he is now?
He's extremely adaptable. So him saying that he had to adapt is probably he's got such a high expectation of himself that maybe a normal person takes 6 months, it takes Drew like a month to kind of adapt. So he's got a lot of perspective, which I think has helped him. When I say that, like, he's very intense about and intentional about his training as a pro, but he's got other things that he's interested in, and if he doesn't have a good workout or a race, he can like kind of self-soothe really well. Like, he can just compartmentalize it effectively. And he's got a great toolbox. That's one of the reasons why, even though not many people knew who he was, and I watched him run a little bit, I was like, hey, he's pretty fast, he's pretty strong, So I'm a little surprised he's running this well, but I'm pleasantly surprised. He's a great person to coach. Like, he's super, like we said, adaptable. He wants to do the work. He's open-minded. He communicates really well. And so those things, you put him into a bowl, and then you start seeing this. So it's been awesome working with Drew.
Shaquille Walker, what's his coaching situation? I mean, do you have any input, or is it still with the BYU coaches? What's the
it's still BYU. I'm just a cheerleader. He needed some physio work, so I just set him up with a guy. Like, no, it's all BYU. What he's gonna do.
And is it Ed Eyestone? Is he the one who's coaching him?
Yeah.
All right.
So I hope he does well, and he's in a Beast uniform now.
Obviously.
So
women's 5K, you got a couple women, Gabe and Katie in there.
Yeah.
Be contenders. I mean, where do you assess their chances in that field?
Pretty high. I think Katie's been top 3 before. Is in the 15, which is I think she's better at the 5. She looked great in her last race at the Bricks PR meet. Her training's been great. Gabe, same thing. She won Adrian Martinez. She was second at Portland Track Festival in the 5. So I give them like very high chances. Some of it's going to be how the race plays out, how they feel in that day, but both of them don't need. They need to just execute well. Like a B+, A- day, they're going to be in that hunt for sure.
Do you feel like, given their backgrounds, you would prefer to see a slower racing final?
Well, Katie's run 15:04, so I'm fine if. In some ways, I prefer to go hot and 14:50 pace for her. I'd like to see a tough battle of fitness with her, just because it removes people. But and Gabe's got probably the best kick in the field. So maybe for Gabe, it's a little bit slower with a hard last 800. But they've both been doing the workouts that I don't. That's one of the reasons why they're in the 55. Is in the 15, I was like with Katie, I was like, if he goes quick, I really like her chances. Kind of like 2 years ago at Sacramento, where Jenny was like 404 on a windy day.
Right.
That's because Katie's that's good for her. 5K. Yeah, they can kind of. I think either way it works for them all right. I'd probably prefer it fast if it was quick, but yeah.
Is there someone in your group that you think people are overlooking heading into the Olympic trials?
By Kaz. I mean, people ask some questions here, but no one talks about him at all, which is it's weird. I would say Kaz, and no, you didn't ask me about Garrett. So maybe Garrett because he was so close last year.
Right.
But no, I don't. I have to search for it. I mean, nobody in his team's ever made no Brooks athlete's ever been an Olympian on track. So this is like a new world for us. So I don't expect, aside from Nick, I don't expect anybody in Cassie made a team. But yeah, I wouldn't have people thinking anybody on the beast is a favorite. They're gonna have to step it up, run their best race on that day.
Well, yeah. It seems like you and Kaz aren't really that worried. I know, as media, we look at these results and we basically see the results on the page. We see how they ran. We don't really see the behind-the-scenes type things. I'm wondering, have you seen stuff from him in practice that's encouraging, and I guess what?
Yeah, I mean, it's like we're not worried, but I also know that he's gonna need to PR to make the team. So it's like we're gonna have to really show up. There's one of the workouts that probably two different workouts. One would be last year he did six sets of K repeats at 255, 3 flat on 2 minutes rest on a dirt track. This year he did 8 and finished in 252. That was 6 weeks ago. That's a hard session for a dude that can run 114. Super far away from 800, I get, but for him it's a key performance indicator. Another one that went well that's more specific that means something is he did 3 400s on 6 minutes rest and he averaged 49 high and he looked good. His fastest one was his last one. I think he ran 48.9. So that looked really good. His 600 and 114 was coming off 14 days of really hard training. So if I put those three, that's kind of where I start getting, okay, he's in a better spot than last year because he couldn't do either of those last year. He could do the 600, but not the workouts. Yeah.
As a coach, do you get any time during the next 2 weeks to sort of enjoy the meet and the atmosphere, or are you just sort of locked in? It's working the whole time?
I'm a pretty social guy, so if the races are in the evening, I'll go to some of the industry parties, but during the day now it's all. I won't even watch I probably won't watch any of the races except the ones the athletes are in. That's just kind of how it is.
When you're watching it, do you ever get to enjoy the excitement of the race, or is it just nerves?
It's just nerves.
No, it's rough.
I'm talking to a recruit that was sitting behind me last year because they moved the 5Ks up.
Early in the morning.
Yeah. So the day started out with Katie tripping, looking great, then tripping and not making the team, and then the next race is Garrett losing 0.07 seconds to route.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's the first time I've actually just lost my shit, and I almost threw a bench into the lane 8. I was embarrassingly upset.
0.07.
Yeah.
Really.
And so
forget things.
I don't forget. It was damn close.
So you get the big book.
Yeah. So that was that. But even and then Kaz and Nick go 1-3. But even that race, I was just kind of almost puke. I was just so nervous about it. So I try to just after that and seeing these NCAA athletes behind me, seeing me lose my mind within the 5s, I was like, I'm gonna go stand by myself just in case I can't control what happens.
Well, let's hope you don't throw any benches on the track this week.
Yeah, for sure.